Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another Sporting160En podcast. Podcast number 81. Back to a bit of normal in the podcast today. But anyways, let me go back to my co-hosts as always, starting off with my boy Steph. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing okay. I don't want to talk about the game from Europa Liga, but I guess we're going to.
You're in for some harsh news, dude.
I know. But I'm very content with the way we won at Portimonense, and we'll talk about the transfer market, which seems to be the topic everybody wants to talk about.
For sure. How about you, Chris? How are you doing today, bro?
Yeah, like Steph, I'm doing all right outside the fucking not being in Europe, and I guess today could have been more devastating. Wasn't great, wasn't bad, bittersweet, you could say. So yeah, been better, been worse.
And last but not least, how about you, Nando? How are you doing today, bro?
I brought my negativity and I'm ready to roll with it about Liga Europa. But like Steph said and like Christian said, bittersweet. At least we looked like a different team against Portimonense. So some positive to be talked about.
Exactly. Let me quickly just check. Totally slipped my mind for a second if we got any Twitter questions, but I don't believe we did.
I think we got one or two.
Got one? Give me 1 sec then. My bad, guys.
By the way, I like your jersey, Chris. That is the
goalkeeper jersey.
That's what I figured. Nice. And then you're rocking the hoodie, aren't you, Danny?
I am.
Is that
this is last year's edition, though? It is. It was. I don't know if they're currently selling it anymore.
No, I don't think they are. I was looking at it the other day, but that's a clean hoodie.
It's nice, right? I like it.
More importantly, I like that old school jacket that Steph is wearing.
It's só faltou emblema, pá.
Dude, I love that thing.
Steph, I got that jacket in green. I got the same one in green. And I sewed a patch on. I got my grandpa too.
Because if I'm not mistaken, it was that was like the secondary jersey, that color scheme. Back in that year.
Yeah, back in the days. Yep.
With the big bit there or something in the front.
The khaki. I love that jersey.
Sorry.
We need to bring that.
All of you guys are looking so good right now, so I have to talk about
it. Anyways, let me jump right into these Twitter questions. Starting off with our boy Matt Paiva, Casa de Paiva on Twitter at mpaiva7. He asks, in big matches this season, which three midfielders do you feel Amorim should be using as his go-to? Mateus Nunes, João Mário Pote, Bragança, João Mário Pote, or Pelinha, João Mário Pote? Steph, I'm going to pass that one off to you first, dude.
Well, it's obvious that Paiva likes Pots. He said it
three times. Pot is legal here in Canada, by the way.
Yeah, I like pot too.
Well, everyone is moving to Canada now.
Fuck that, bro.
Potts, I like him too. Definitely Pelinha. And I would give it to Bragança for the time being. But João Mário, when he's up and running, then I guess he's going to be a really good competition to have among the team.
Yeah. Agreed. Next question comes in from Joel da Silva at JoeLeon_073. He has two questions. So the first one I'll give to Christian. In your opinion, what will be our starting 11? That's a hectic question.
Okay, so I'm just going to assume that everyone's healthy.
Yes, of course.
And we're playing with Amorim's preferred 3-5 or 3-2-3.
Whatever the fuck it is. 3-5-3 or I don't know.
All right, so the wingbacks are Porto and the wingbacks are Porto and Nuno Mendes. The center backs, I think at this moment, it's Coates the center, Fidal and Neto are the flanking center backs. I think Neto is ahead of Eduardo Quaresma and Inacio on the depth chart, evidenced by him playing all the games so far. And then I'm going to say that the two midfielders are Pelinha and Gonçalves. The right is, I guess, well, as of right now, it's Tomas. Going to have competition from Tabata now as well. I think the left is, I guess, Vieto. Not really sure. I mean, I'm going to say Jovan is probably the target man in the ideal situation where everyone is healthy. So I'm going to say Tomas, Jovan, and then Vieto. But it could also be Nuno Santos, but I don't think he's ahead of him, but could easily pass over him in the next 2 games or whatever.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind that, to be fair. And Nando, last question to you. Joel says, do we need another striker? He says, in my opinion, yes. And if yes, can Super Sleeve be the one we need? So, of course, it's too late for us to get Slimani. I think it's too late for us to get Slimani.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, did we need another striker?
Yeah, absolutely. 100% need another striker. 100%. And I'll even, I'm sure we'll touch base on it, but that's kind of what led me to grading the question that we posted earlier about how we would rate this transfer market. I'm sure we'll all of us give it a grade, but 100% need a striker. For one, Ruben Amorim is not sold on Sporting. I think we'd all agree with that. I can't say I'm sold either on Thiago Tomás. Too young. Show some talent, but I can't go into the league like this where now more than ever, because we're not in the Europa, this league becomes even more important to try to place well to go into Europe next year. Slimani obviously would have been a fantastic choice, a true striker, knows the club, has had success there, a fan favorite. It's sad and unfortunate that it didn't work out. If I had my way, I would have chosen him over João Mario. No disrespect or hate or ill feelings towards João Mario. I think he's a great reforço, but not one that we needed as bad as we would have needed a striker. So it's a little frustrating that we were not able to go ahead and fill that void.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's just and last thing from Joel Leão, or from Joel, is Veranda's out. And we here endorse that statement. Yeah. So let's just let's jump right into it. The last game, Sporting lost to Lask 4-1 at home, kicking us out of the Europa League entirely. The 11 was as followed. We had Antonio and Dan in net, Luis Neto, Sebastian Coates, and Fadal in the back, with Porro and Nuno Mendes on the wing-back position. We had Wendell, Mateus Nunes in the midfield, with Vieto, Thiago Tomás, and Nuno Santos up top, with our only goal coming from the kid, Thiago Tomás. Steph, I'll pass it off to you, dude. What were your thoughts on this game? I know you were the last one that wanted to talk about it, but buddy, you're going to be the first one to talk about it.
I'm not going to take too long. We underestimated Lask. We thought they were just a bunch of tall players from Austria that didn't know how to play soccer, and we should know better because we lost against them away, and we barely won at home last year. They should have won that game. So it was a very poor display. The players didn't honor Sporting jerseys at all. It was an embarrassment. We lost 6 million from the get-go, and we need money because there's no ticket sales. The stadium is empty, and we should have done a lot better. Even though we had a lot of players conditioned because of the COVID-19 and so on, we didn't display the full capability, and we lost badly. Losing at home 4-1, there's nothing else I can tell you. It's an embarrassment to Sporting and all the fans and the administration. I was expecting much more from the team. I didn't. The only thing I will agree with the complaints that Sporting had, the coaching staff, is Kovac didn't deserve the red card. I mean, I started to play several times. It was actually a clean cut, and that conditioned the game a lot. But I think we would have still lost even if Kovac was on the pitch, because every time every time they kicked the ball, they took a shot, they scored. It was one of those days that no matter what they did, they would score uh, each play, and we were the opposite. We had quite a few chances to score, and we couldn't score. We couldn't put the ball in the net. So to wrap it up, we should have done better. And I disagree com os jornalistas portugueses when they say, "Oh, now we can focus on the Liga NOS." That's a bullshit assessment. You always want to be in the Europa Liga, so you're exposed to the whole world. And now we pissed away 10 games, and and a lot of money we could have made if a team makes it all the way to the final. I think it's 26 million that you make. And now you tell me that 26 million, it's not a lot of money? Are you kidding me? A club like Sporting struggling, that we're pissing away money like that? Anyway, total embarrassment, total poor display. E uma vergonha para os Sportingistas. And I'll never forget this defeat for a while. And Benfiquistas and Portistas making fun of us. Hey, we deserve it, because we made fun of them when they lost against PAOK. I don't even know what the fuck it is, PAOK, but whatever. Mas we lost against a team that's called LASK, for God's sake.
Yeah.
That's anyway.
A team that didn't really do anything in Europe up until until last season, really, when they slapped us 3-0 after.
Comment about the name, because I literally, when I kept trying to see what they were really called, and it was like, it's called Lask Lins. I was like, no, that's the abbreviation to some shit. What's it really called?
Nando, I'll pass it off to you, though. Or sorry, go ahead, Steph.
And really quick, this is the second time in our history that we haven't gone to international competitions. So again, congratulations to Varandas for a phenomenal fucking accomplishment.
Another record broken under Varandas.
Claps all the way around. John.
They even released a third uniform to be worn in Europe, and at least it got burned in one game. Right?
And Lauren actually brings up a great point. Rio put us to shame after their effort and performance versus AC Milan. Rio we're looking like the big team in Portugal after that performance.
They got
the true team in green and white. Nando, I'll pass it off to you, though, dude. What were your thoughts on this game?
I mean, I think we're all going to express similar feelings towards this. Steph nailed it. Not only talking about the disappointment and the clear embarrassment that we were. It's gotten to the point where it's like, I don't expect any other poor result to surprise me or to leave me kind of like with a stunned face. But somehow, some way, Sporting of Varandas finds a way to leave me scratching my head and to sit here and sit back and go like, what is this? You know, who are these players? What are they doing to our club? We definitely underestimated them. I believe we played them recently too in Europe. I don't know if it was last year or the year before that. It was last year, right?
Last year, yeah. We beat them 2-1 in the group, and then they beat us 3-0 on the second leg.
So you would hope that we would know them a little better or perform a little better, but clearly not. My biggest takeaway, though, in terms of the performance, all right, we didn't miss some opportunities, but my goodness, was our defense absolutely atrocious. I think every single one of their goals, other than the free kick, and the free kick came directly from the foul. I agree with Steph that shouldn't have been a foul. But you take the first goal, which I believe was on a corner kick, no defender jumps, clear header. Then you had the second goal.
Poru shot his pants on that one.
Yeah,
he went for the header, like a backwards header, and then it fell to the striker.
Exactly, back in the big box, and he just pushes it in, shoots it in. Nothing hard there. Another horrible defensive play. And then the last one, you have the chip over the goalie. Perfect, nice chip. I'll give him kudos to that. But once again, another through ball through the defense. I'm not a big fan of that 3-4-3 that Ruben Amorim likes to play. I don't think our players suit that well. But again, horrible defense. Everybody's kind of mortal chasing the ball. So we just absolutely sucked, period. But yeah, man, there's not much more to say to that other than the fact that it's embarrassing. We needed to go to Europa League. Benfica, yeah, they missed an opportunity to go to Champions League, but they're still in the Europa League. And we're sitting here, where are we going to get money from? You know what I mean? Like, where's the money coming from? That game now makes this league, this season, that much more important, because we cannot piss away this league now and run the risk of finishing behind a Braga and having to do this Europa League bullshit all over again going into next year. You know what I mean? So that, to me, on top of the fact that it was embarrassing, just put even more pressure on the administration, on the players, on the coach. And they caused it themselves. They have nothing to blame but them. But it's embarrassing, man. We cannot be losing 4-1 games like that against Lask Linz. The fuck?
100%. I agree with you. 100%. Our history definitely demands more. The investment in the team so far this transfer window, I would say, demands more than a 4-1 loss and not even making Europa League. But I digress. Chris, last but not least, dude, what were your thoughts on the game, dude?
Basically, the only point in the game that was acceptable was 10 minutes, 15 minutes between the 30th and halftime. Outside of that, they dominated from the beginning. We were getting absolutely demolished by Trauner, their center back, the Baldy, who scored the first goal. He was everywhere. He was annihilating us. He was threatening. He had multiple chances, scored one of them. And then, the second half opened and Puru shot his pants. Coates got sent off, and it was just bang, 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 bang. And there's still plenty of time left, but they just scored 3 goals in 10 minutes, so we're fucked. And then just the end was just it was like watching you're in a trance, because it's 4-1. There's 15 minutes left, and it's just nothing's happening. They're getting a couple half chances, but it doesn't matter. And it was just a painful viewing experience. I want to give a shout out to Poru, though, for earning himself one of the worst, if not the worst, goal point ranking I've ever seen in my entire life.
Facts.
He put up a 1.8, and he played the full 90 minutes. Also want to say Nuno Santos, despite assisting the goal, was also almost unwatchable. Vieto, unwatchable. Mateus Nunes and Wendell. Wendell was okay. Mateus Nunes wasn't good. The center backs were okay, I guess. No one was really that great. Coates got himself sent off, so that's pretty poor. And Adan, don't really recall him making any saves, so maybe 1 or 2. He did save 1 or 2 with his legs after it was already 4-1 to stop it from being 6-7-1. So I guess a little too late, too little too late there. But, this was a disgrace. It's pathetic and sad that we're not going to be in Europe at all next season. Opportunity to make, most likely between 6 to 8 million. Like Steph said, not really in a position to be pissing away money like that right now. Just, the honor of playing in Europe, playing against bigger clubs, getting the recognition, getting your players scouted, stuff like that. There's a level of prestige that a club like Sporting should always aspire to have, and, not coming or falling short by such a large margin it's unacceptable.
Yeah, exactly. Nando, I actually had a question for you because I know you're the more passionate on this, and we can obviously go into a little debate, if anything. But from our Aussie Tuga, from José Costa Jorge, I don't know if you can see it on the screen. He asks, any word on Amorim? I know you like him, but this misery was his fault for this. So, José, just a quick little side note. Most of us like him, but my boy Nando here, not his biggest fan. So, Nando, what do you think on that, man? Does this loss obviously falls
Yes.
on a lot of
Yes.
shoulders. It falls on players. It falls on the president. Does it fall on Amorim as well?
Oh, fuck yeah, it falls on Amorim. I don't give a damn if Sporting had spent a penny or $100 million, US dollars or euros or whatever. He was bought out. It's not his fault he was bought out, but he's the coach of Sporting. If he wants to further his career outside of Sporting or even at Sporting, he cannot have the team playing as poorly as they have been playing in games leading up to this game, and then play or have that kind of performance. He can't. At the end of the day, the saying is always what, right? It's cheaper to let go of the coach than it is to let go of 11 players. Yeah. So, yes, somebody is the commander of the boat. Varandas is the president. Varandas chose the coach. The coach is an extension of Varandas' confidence, of Viana's confidence. And if he isn't playing, if he is not coaching and training these players to perform better all the time, but in particular in games like this, which is one game and you're in or you're out, it's his fault. I can't sit here and I can't possibly think that Sportingistas are going to say like, "Opa, Ruben Amorim, he did everything possible. I mean, he was fantastic with his substitutions. The players played well. The ball just didn't go in." No, that's not the case. On top of that, I don't agree with a lot of his choices. I blame him. I blame him a lot. I won't say he's 100% at fault here, but he's definitely going to be shouldering and carrying a lot of that fault and a lot of that issue, which was our performance. I don't believe how anyone could think that he isn't at fault at least 50% for our performance. Because so far since being our coach, I don't think he's yet, to me at least, convinced me that, yep, every one of those millions of euros are well spent and that Sporting's in good hands. So, yeah, fuck him right now.
Fair enough. Anybody have anything to debate on that? We can have a little debate, if anything.
I mean, sometimes I see. So I don't even really think that is an exaggerated response. You know, like
I don't think so either.
It's his team. At the end of the day, it's his responsibility how his team performs. Period. But I mean, I think that there's some fans who really, really, like him or are very hesitant to give him any sort of blame. And I guess there are some fans that I guess just like hate. Well, I mean, just never agreed with him from the beginning, I guess. And it is tough to get over.
And I don't mean to cut you off, Chris, but I'll just say like I've never hated him just because I hated him. When he played for Benfica, yeah, he could go fuck himself and break his leg, but as a coach for Braga and then to Sporting, I didn't go like, God damn it, here we go, hate this guy, public enemy number one. No, but the conditions in which he was brought into Sporting, which again, not really his fault, created a sense of expectation and now a responsibility that he has to live up to, and he's running out of time to live up to that expectation, and that's where I have my issues.
Basically, what I want to say is like the reality of the Amorim system and the Amorim results, even when he was during his best form of results, the team has never been like that high flying, that high power, like creating chances, like even this most recent game, this Portuguese game is the perfect example. 2-0 scoreline, seemed comfortable, but the game was resolved quickly and efficiently, and the rest of it was, pretty average, dull, not exciting at all, and that's not just when we're winning 2-0. When the game's 1-1, it looks like that. When the game's 0-0, that Aberdeen game, it looks like that too. Like, my main gripe with him is that he's sacrificing, it feels like, a lot by playing this so specific 3, not having a diamond of midfielders now. Like, he only plays 2 center mids, but we have kind of a lot of center midfield options, and it's like it feels like he's forcing this formation, and if it's not even creating that many chances, like, I really, at a certain point, you're like, why are we still playing this? Like, you got to adjust, man. Like, you got to switch it up. Like, it's not working, but I don't know. I mean, he definitely should ride it out for now because we're starting the season, but like,
yeah,
I've yet to see it really produce the results in any of the games that he's coached. All like 14 of them or whatever.
And that logic that we're starting the season, he has to ride out with him. That logic doesn't exist in Varanda's mind. As me and the chat actually are going off on reminiscing on Kaiser Ball. Long live Kaiser Ball.
There was Amorim Ball. Remember we won like 4 straight. Like Giovanni scored a free kick in every game. Like those are the good times.
I still think we're balling in a sense where we have I finally see a strategy in our game for once, even in that loss. Because when we were down 1-0, we were still going for it against Lask. The 2-1, I mean, that's not on Amorim, in my opinion. That's on Poru. All of it is on Poru. The red card, that's not a red card, so it was hard luck by. But I 100% I agree with you also in the point, Nando, where it's like circumstances. He's the highest paid manager in the world. We should not be losing 4-1 to Lask 1. Mm-hmm. We should not be out of the Europa League too. But so I do see both sides really. And yeah, we'll end it on that unless anything else is meant to be said for that.
I mean, the comments are saying it too. It's like, yeah, he's unfireable, right? So
exactly.
You lose to Lask, you're not fired. You lose to Benfica, and you don't get the group stage, you don't get fired. I mean, you can get, if he fucks up enough, like 10 times, you can get fired. But like, as of now, your average manager probably would have got fired, right? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Marco Diaz.
If they choked last season and then they started again and immediately choked at the beginning of this season, if Carlos Carvalhal was our coach and we brought him in last year, like he might have got canned.
Marcel Kaiser would have gotten canned.
Yeah. Like
he did get canned for almost the
same
thing.
There's a world that exists that a manager gets canned after that game.
Yeah, if Amorim didn't pay that, it didn't cost that much.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Marco Diaz here saying RA is a one-trick pony. Nuberto Chaves saying Amorim is nothing but a Trojan horse.
Wow.
He'll never be the Trojan horse George Jesus was. Come on.
Yeah, that's true.
It could be. Horse. But on this game against Lask, yes, I agree with with the panel. This one is on Amorim. He takes too long sometimes to do certain subs, and this game was going south really fast. Physically, they were more fit, and that's how they won all the 50s, and they was just in better shape, really. And we look like Sporting de Covilhã, a second division team. Or I think they're second division or third division. I don't even know.
They're in the second division.
Okay, that's not so bad. But we look terrible in playing at home. That's why it was more of an embarrassment, because we were supposed to be a high ranking team, 29 in the Europa rankings. So now, of course, we're going to drop to 30s or 40s. And we're not going to have Portugal with the maintaining the 6th ranked position. Because all of a sudden, out of 5 teams, we only have 3 teams that could potentially keep that position.
All we did was contribute 1 win against Aberdeen. That's our European.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. So this year, this is what people have to understand. The consequences. It's not only Sporting dropping on the ranking of the Europa rankings, and it's also not helping Portugal, which will affect us in the long run if we want to go to the Champions League. Next year, it's going to be the first time that we potentially will have 3 teams in the Champions League. But thanks to Sporting,
could be gone right away.
Could be gone just like that, exactly.
Yeah, it could be gone just like that, and that's what bothers me the most. We have a big lead on the 7th country behind us. It's, I think, Belgium or Russia. And then on top of us, it's France. We'll never catch France now. Anyway, that's what I wanted to bring up. Yeah. This one is on Ruben Amorim. He didn't prepare the team well enough.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And with that, we'll jump to the Portimonense game where Sporting responded well. A 2-0 win away from home against Portimonense, who technically got relegated last season. But, Stuball happened. But anyways, they had we had virtually the same 11. We had Aden in net with Fidel, Coates, and Luis Neto, Nuno Mendes, and Pedro Porro on the wingback position. We had Pedro Gonçalves instead of Wendell, who then departed to Zenit, with Mateus Nunes in the midfield as well, with Nuno Santos, Tiago Tomás, and Luciano Vieto. Goals coming from Nuno Mendes with a beautiful goal, and then Nuno Santos surprisingly getting a header. But yeah, 2-0 win. Steph, I'll ask you, dude. What were your thoughts on that game?
We played well the first 20 minutes, and then and that's when we scored really fast. Our 2 goals, great goal by Nuno Mendes. Oh my God, that guy's a baller. Oh man, that kid is awesome. I mean, just today I was like, I hope they don't sell him. I hope they don't sell him. I hope they don't sell him. And thank goodness he wasn't sold. But at the same time, the Russian market, I think he only closes on the 17th. So I'm still afraid that a Russian team might scoop him or something. But we kept Nuno Mendes and we kept Giovanni. But that game, going back to that game, phenomenal goal, water baller, one of the best players we have. Fernando Santos from our national team. I don't know why he didn't call him, but he called Cicada. They only played a few minutes, and Braga lost 2 games. They finally won one, a big one, 4-0 at Moreirense. But you telling me that Cicada is better than Mendes? Get the fuck out of here. I mean, wake up and smell the coffee. Who the fuck is Cicada? Most people don't even know who he is. So it bothers me that Fernando Santos is giving minutes to potentially I don't know who's his agent. Is it?
I didn't even know he was Portuguese, to be honest.
Yeah, he is. But who's his agent? His agency? Maybe that's why he got called.
Já vou ver.
Então vê lá seu Mendes or something like that. But besides that, and a great goal by Nuno Santos. He really, what a header. Great game from Sporting from the 20 minutes, and then they start managing, and that's fine because they had a game in the middle of the week, and I'm okay with that. And it was a solid win and away at Portimonense. Not easy to win at Portimonense. And if you told me that after three rounds we would be with 6 points, potentially with 9 if we win against Gil Vicente, which we're more than capable of doing so, I would tell you, yeah, I'll take it. But it was very important to win this game at Portimonense because what's the next game? At home to Porto.
Yeah.
So it was key to finish the round, the third one with a positive note, and we did. So I feel much better against Porto, which they lost some key players. So I think it's going to be like a 50-50, but we'll talk about that later. But great win. I didn't watch most of the game. I just saw the highlights. I had to work, so sometimes it sucks, but it is what it is. But that's all I got to say about that game.
Yeah, fair enough. And just a quick follow-up. So, funny enough, Nuno Mendes and Nuno Cicada are actually from the same agency. Same agency as Jetson Fernandes and Bruno Fernandes. It's from MRP position number. That's what it shows here on Transfer Market. So, yeah, not Jorge Mendes, not Justy Foot, to my surprise. But Nando, I'll pass it off to you as well. What were your thoughts on the 2-0 win, the response?
It was good to see that they responded quickly to that loss against Lask, that they didn't get hung up on it. That could have turned into a very bad sequence of games for Sporting, and that was my fear going into the game, that we maybe ended up tying or losing. Then, like Steph just said, play Porto at home, and then that suddenly turned into a bad cycle there for us, right? So we got a good win away at those kind of trap games, as we like to call it here in America. And a couple things. Sporting is very much a managed team so far under Ruben Amorim, like Chris said earlier. They don't seem to want to go for the throat or to really like try to kill it off. It just ended like, the Jorge Jesus squads like to do for Benfica, or even Sergio Conceição when they were doing well. So that worries me a little bit. Because I'm worried and a little apprehensive that all it takes is, depending on the score, a goal to put that opposing team back in it. I don't want to talk about too many negatives in the game, though, because we won, and that's important. A couple things for me that stood out. I really enjoyed Nuno Santos' header. I really enjoyed that those moments in the game where we were playing really well. A lot of like good touches on the ball. There's not much more to say about Nuno Mendes' goal other than like what a goal, right? That's pure class. That's dribbling and a goal created all by him and himself. The patience, the awareness of that cutback and getting that ball around that player to go ahead and score it himself is phenomenal. I'm tired of Neto. I've been tired of him for a while. I'd like to see him ride the bench for a while. I don't feel comfortable or confident with him back there, especially in that three defender scheme. I'd like to see like an Eduardo Quaresma take his place again and give that young kid some more play time. But all in all, like our high moments in the game were good enough to get 2 goals out of it, and then we just managed. Adan too, the goalie. I'm liking his performances thus far. I feel a little safe with him back there. You know, he has a lot of saves in which he smartly pounces back on the ball or like really tries to kill time to kill momentum. I don't know. It just seems like he's just a good vet goalie right now, and I enjoy that. And hey, that's 3 points. So right now we're doing what we need to do. Take away the Juventus game that hasn't been played yet. We've got all victories, and so far so good league-wise. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, 100%. And just a quick thing, like Christian reminded me just before we went online, you're gonna have to put up with Neto, dude, because Fidel just went out, so it's not looking like Neto's gonna come out of the team anytime soon. I thought maybe with Eduardo coming back from COVID could be the case. But,
that's what I'm hoping too, man.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that Quaresma comes back in because last year, he was what everybody talked about for the longest time.
Yeah,
he was our top young player to look out for.
Yeah.
He was exciting when he was in there, but truthfully, right now, I think he's the 5th choice.
I agree.
I think he's behind Ignacio. Hopefully, now he might get a start or two. But
hey, I mean, Neto got a lucky break from the COVID-19, and he took advantage of it, and he's been playing on a regular basis, and he's been playing so-so, and now it's up to Quaresma to get it back, his position back.
Yeah, exactly. Christian, what were your thoughts on the game, dude?
Yeah, I mean, like we said, the first 20 minutes were great. It felt like it was a really good bounce back game. We took our chances immediately. We're efficient. It felt like it was going to be a statement win, and it really didn't end up becoming that. Throughout the entire second half, it just felt like we were waiting. I was waiting for Portimonense to score and to make it 2-1, and then for us to have like a frenetic last 10 minutes. I think we've all seen those games before. It felt like it was about to be one of those. They were like their chances weren't that good, but they were certainly carving out more chances than we were in the second half. We weren't playing we were not doing shit in the second half. So yeah, it felt like it was coming. And Adan, if it weren't for Adan, who I think was the best player out there, it could have been a more frenetic, sketchier ending than it ended up being with the 2-0, as opposed to if they had scored. So yeah. Adan was great. Nuno Mendes overall, not just the goal itself, but I mean he was solid as well. Just overall, I feel like he's becoming one of the more consistent performers, which is honestly kind of remarkable. I liked Gonçalves as well, and I thought Nuno Santos was better than he was in the game against Lask, where I thought he was atrocious. So that was good to see him play a little bit better. But yeah, looking forward to a Paulinho debut. Interested to see how he fits in. And interested to see who replaces Fidel, because I'm guessing he'll be out for at least a game or two.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, quick question for you before we sort of transition this into the transfer market. How did you like Pot ahead of Wendell in that position?
I truthfully didn't mind it, but it was actually pretty interesting because Bragança came in and then was playing like on the left, but super narrow, kind of like where Pulp would play if he was playing out on the left, or where João Mario would play if they were on the left. But yeah, in the midfield role, that center mid role, I thought Gonzalez was pretty good. No complaints there. He was one of the better ones out there.
Fact.
Matheus Nunes, to be honest, wasn't bad either. He was obviously like everyone else when they had the ball more. He was better in the first half. But really good start to the game by him.
Definitely his best game in a Sporting shirt, in my opinion. So far, Matheus Nunes. After a smeller from against Lask, he really answered back on Portuguese. Before we move on to the transfer window, man of the match, mine is Nuno Mendes, even though he didn't last the 70 minutes. I know our Braga buddy David here was even mentioning, let me see if I can pull it up. He's out of gas by the 60th minute, David says here. So, and which is true, this isn't the first time he's been subbed off in like the 60th, 70th minute. But those 60, 70 minutes that he played, what a kid, what a player. So that's my man of the match. I don't know. What about you guys?
I'm gonna give it to Adan, and then I'm gonna say Nuno Mendes as a close second, because he did play really well. Just like Chris said, not just a goal. Let out rebound, slide into a putback or something like that, and Adan just seems to be well collected enough. And I think he had even a couple moments where like he defended the ball still got away from him, and he went and still tried very hard to prevent it to go into a corner kick or something like that. So it just shows his awareness and what he's thinking, and very situational how he's playing. So to me, I'd give it to Adan.
Yeah. Very
That's mine as well.
That's what we got.
Adan.
Fair. How about you, Steph?
I would say Nuno Mendes.
Sick. 2-2 then. And fuck you guys. Me and Steph win. That's all I'm saying. Let's move on to the transfer window then. I know everybody's dying to say to get onto it. Only one big signing today. I know we were all hopeful for two. As rumors of Slimani and Paulinho, let's be real. Slimani and Paulinho coming to the club. We're very heavy these last 2 days, but we only got one. We only got João Mario basically to replace the I think to replace the outgoing Wendell, but who knows? Me and Chris were just looking up before the podcast how João Mario last season predominantly played on the wings. We vividly remember that JJ year. João Mario was not in the midfield. He was playing as a right winger. So there is a possibility that he's not even here to replace Wendell. But that being said, of course, our João Mario is coming back. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Christian, I'll start with you first because I normally go with you last.
It's not a sign that makes like the most sense like strategically, but it's like it makes enough sense, right? He's a quality player, seemingly play multiple positions. It's like we'll figure it out, I think he'll be able to play both in the middle, and like the winger has been so narrow the past couple games that I could easily see him playing as like a narrow winger in the Amorim system. So, it is kind of surprising that it was like 2 days ago. I didn't think that this would be the blockbuster signing, but they've tried a couple. I think they tried last year to get him, or they've tried in 2 windows, I think, to get him.
Mm-hmm.
It finally happened.
They've also tried in 2 windows to get Paulinho. Maybe third time's a charm.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not, indeed. Steph, how about you, dude? Seeing as Nando just left us.
Very excited for João Mario to come back. The problem is he hasn't played on a regular basis for such a long time, so I don't know what to expect from him. But am I excited? Of course, he's one of us. You're always welcome back, our own people. And when we heard he potentially could be going to our neighbor Benfica, a lot of people were upset about that. I'm one of those fans that I get it. That's their job. That's their profession. And sometimes it happens, like Otamendi. He played at Porto, and now he's at Benfica. And you can crucify players, because they go to one of the rivals. So I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad that he came back to Sporting, and I think he'll be a phenomenal player, and he'll be his performance will improve. But let's give him some time because he's out of rhythm. He's not gonna just get into the pitch and play phenomenal games from the get-go. And I just hope people are a little bit patient. I know I was criticizing heavily our team against Lask, but it's a young team, and it's one of those teams that we might play really well and win against Real Madrid. Well, we're not going to play against them. That's a sure thing. We out of the Liga Europa. But and then we could lose against Pas Freitas because start losing 2-0 against one of those teams with such a young team, it could be decisive. And I don't know if they'd be capable of rebounding back. And I think that's what happened against Lask. But I see a lot of potential with our team, and João Mario with his experience, he's been gone for 4 years. He brings a lot of insight and a lot of different things of what he learned overseas. But let's give him some time.
Yeah, agreed. I'm just going to quickly do my 2 cents before passing off to Nando. I'm 100% with you, Steph. The exact same things. My concern is lack of game time. Me and Christian looked it up. Last time he played was in July for Lokomotiv Moscow. So he hasn't had a preseason yet. These next 2 weeks will at least be his preseason. I doubt we'll see him ahead of Porto, but I wouldn't be surprised if he got subbed on at least. And then, of course, the good things, like you were saying, another good thing is we now have another captain. Even though he's been out of the club for a few years, he's definitely a figure to look up to. If I'm not mistaken, he's now the second highest transfer from Sporting, the first now being Bruno Fernandes. So a player that didn't really reach the expectations at Inter, but was still class. He still had his moments. I also think he was really hard done by an Inter by is it Spalletti? I believe it was Spalletti, the bald guy. Didn't really fit into his system. He kind of played him as a cam. That's not really João Mario. João Mario was either deeper or on the wing. So I don't think he was utilized right in Italy. I just hope he comes to Portugal with that same sort of form that he had at West Ham, because for England and West Ham fans look up to him in a high regard. He's a class player. So I'm not mad at the signing. It's a great signing. It's a 1-year loan. I don't know how long he has on his contract with Inter, so hopefully we can somehow get him or keep him. I doubt it too.
I don't even know if there's an option to buy.
I don't think there is.
I doubt it.
They usually say if there is. That's why I assume it's just like with Porto. I don't believe there is because they haven't mentioned it. So,
yeah.
But yeah, Nando, how about you? What do you think about the Magician coming back before you go on to the rest of the transfer market?
I'm okay with him. I'm okay with him coming back, man. He's what you want to call a mais valia. You know what I mean? He's one of those players that, like Chris said, they'll figure it out. He's only going to bring positive performances more so than negative performances or bad performances. He does like that right side. He's not a true winger. He did play it more with Jorge Jesus. Looking at our current skill set of players in that position, I don't see him being worse than any of them. I see him being better than several of them.
Wait, sorry to cut you off. This idea just popped into my head. Do you think that he could play as like the furthest forward in the false nine that we've been playing? Like I can't even.
I don't think so.
Can.
It's gonna be a clusterfuck because there's really, if Sportad is out, like the furthest guy is just gonna be like Vieto, Tomas.
To be fair, I have him. Maybe I have him over Vieto.
I 100% have him over Vieto. 100%. I trust João Mario making decisions all day over Vieto. I think he has a better shot. I think he's a better passer. I think he's just a better player than Vieto. I think that him coming in, he's 27 years of age, if I'm not mistaken. He has experience. He was at the last good Sporting team. So that's more experience there that these players can hopefully utilize. He's not an old dude. It's not like we're sitting here talking about like, I'm on Sporting. Why'd you go bring in an old guy that's going to take a young guy's place? No, he's not. All right. He's young. He has lots of soccer ahead of him. It hasn't worked out for him in other leagues. So what? We know what he can do at Sporting. He's done it. I'd much rather have him at Sporting than seeing him go to Benfica, like Steph said, which was rumored all the time. But it's not like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, it's not the transfer that I was hoping or that we needed. But it's one of those that I think we'll make it work, and I think we'll figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Another one, it was an outgoing departure, a big loss for us. Huge loss for us. Miguel Luis left us on a
It's really random that of all the guys they decided to cut loose today, he's the only one that they cut loose.
Yeah, so let me go through this. Let me go through this list of players that have just been re-signed to the club. But let me just mention Miguel Luis going to Guimarães on a free, but we still own. Is it 50% of his pass?
Yeah,
50%, right? So, not lost there, but I highly doubt we'll ever see any fruit from that. But so guys that have come back that we've tried to burn, as they weren't in the preseason squad at all, really. We had Mizic back at Sporting, Rafael Camacho, Tiago Ilori, Bruno Gaspar, Ivanildo Fernandes, Bruno Paulista, Diogo Souza, Gonçalo Costa, and Lumor, the left back. Am I missing anybody? No, that is. And Renan, of course.
That's a good starting 11 right there.
With Renan in net.
That's good.
So I know people at Sporting won't like this. They've clearly shown that they don't like us talking bad about the administration. But how big of a failure is this in terms of the administration? Because that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 9 players. 9 players that they didn't account for when they started preseason that they couldn't get off their books.
And let's be honest, the ones that they were able to offload, they just kicked the can down the road because they'll be in the exact same position again next summer because they're all just 1-year loans that they're not going to have the option triggered on. Maybe one of them will. I don't think Croton is going to be just impressed so much that they pull trigger. Alaves just amazed by Battaglia's performances, or Doumbia, that 10 mil option to buy. Got a feeling Huesca's not going to trigger that one. So these guys are all just going to be back and we'll have to do this again. But the problem is that of these guys, I mean, some of them are Bruno Carvalho layovers, like Bruno Gaspar and Mateus Oliveira, who's still on the books, who went out on loan.
Ristovski, technically.
Yeah, Renan. I mean, Renan's he's a what's his name? The guy.
Yeah.
But obviously the initial the finalizing of his pass was Verandas. But I mean, a lot of these guys are self-inflicted gunshot wounds, is my point. Guys like Doumbia, I mean, Diaby, same kind of boat. But like a lot of these guys are just like, they've done it to themselves. You know, Eduardo, you've done it to yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Renan.
Renan, Ilori.
So it's like there's
Ilori
so many.
Ilori is going to be great.
Ilori, you did it to yourself, you know? Like, there's so many of these guys.
I have a lot of faith in Ilori. I think he's going. Seriously, I think he's going to score at least 20 goals this year.
In his own net or in training. Sorry, yeah.
like 22.
God, I fucking hate Ilori.
22 assists. I mean, yeah. I mean,
he might play up top. Who knows?
I'm amazed his father didn't come out and he complained that his son is not playing. Poor son. You know, I mean, he only makes, I think, 3 million. I feel so sorry for him, you know. What a piece of shit. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, so let's just quickly go through it. So coming in, we had Pedro Gonçalves from Famalicão, Tabata from
There's an echo.
Huh?
There's an echo. Yeah. I don't know if it's somebody with YouTube.
We had Fidel from oh my god, I'm forgetting the team. Not Betis. Yeah. We had Nuno Santos from Rio Ave. We had Antunes. Sorry, actually, before I forget, the one thing going back on last, and this will be really quick. The fact that we lost 4-1 and that Francisco Geraldo and Gelson Dalla almost brought Rio Ave over the line is poetic.
Yeah.
Poetic. I digress. Antunes, we had Antunes
Titanic
come in
music
on a
type
free.
shit right there.
Facts. We had Antunes come in from a free. Adan come in from Atleti. We had Pedro Porro on a 2-year loan. Of course, João Mario. Bragança coming back from loan. Palhinha coming back from loan from Braga. We definitely we had Wendell going to Zenit, of course, today. We had Acuna going for 10 million to Sevilla. Side note, I find it crazy that we sold Wendell for more than Acuna. That's
Twice
a joke.
as much.
Twice as much. Acuna, debatably, if not the best, if not the second best, the third best player of our team last season, and maybe the past 2 seasons. Argentinian international, and we got Wendell, a Brazilian Olympian, twice as much sold. But anyways, Pereira, which is this? Oh, Matheus Pereira, obviously going to West Brom. We had Francisco Geraldo Jandala going to Rio Ave, as I mentioned. Miguel Luiz going to Guimarães. Alan Ruiz is off our books. Where did Alan Ruiz go?
End of contract. Finally
Sick.
off the books.
Amazing. And the legend, right back legend, that is André Geraldo, going to Tel Aviv, right?
Oh, no, he went to Apoel. He was at Tel Aviv last year.
Sorry.
But
Apoel.
he's off the books now, too. We released him.
Finally.
Yeah.
Finally. And then, of course, we had Rosier going to Besiktas. We had Matheus Oliveira going to a team in Brazil. I forget which team now. Palmeiras, I think. Curitiba.
Yeah.
Curitiba. I knew it was a team in
I have
green.
no idea if that team's good or not. I'm guessing not because I haven't really heard too much about them.
Curitiba. I don't even remember if they're in the Serie A or Serie B.
I think they're in the top flight. I think they're in the top flight. Yeah.
Okay. We had Dumbia going to Huesca. We had Diaby going. Where did to Getafe, right?
Yeah.
Eduardo going to Crotone. Bataglia going to Alaves. Leonardo Ruiz went to
Second division of Spain or third division of Spain, right?
I forget what team now too.
Second division of Spain, yeah, the random team. Alcrones or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
We had obviously Pedro Mendes going to Almeria. Jorge Mendes' new project. Clearly.
A lot of action a lot of Spanish action.
Yeah. And Felipe Xabi went to Academica, I believe, right? On loan?
Yeah.
On loan. Felipe Xabi's still in the books, boys.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. We'll resolve him next season. And, just on some side notes, of course, nothing to do with Sporting anymore, but Jefferson going to Casa de Pia and Bruno Cesar going to Penafiel. Have to be some outstanding mentions.
Incredible, really.
Boys, so what do we rate our transfer window? Because there's a lot of indecisiveness between Sporting fans. Some thinking we did okay, some thinking it's going to blow up in our face, some thinking that we've done really well and we can actually contend this season for the title, at least, saying that we're out of Europe. I'm not asking if we can contend. I'm asking how well if you can give a letter grade to it like we did here on Twitter, and I'll show you guys the results afterwards of what it is so far. What is your letter grading of the transfer market this window? I'll start off and I'll say I think it's a B. I think we got some good players in. We got some young potential players in. We got Nuno Santos and Pedro Gonçalves. Pedro Gonçalves, I think, is going to be a baller. The only anger I have towards that transfer is the 50% of the pass. I also understand that there's a lot of complications. That there's a few teams that own that pass. Wolves being one of them. So I understand that had to be the deal we went for. But still, I'm not satisfied with the 50%, knowing that or having at least a feeling that we're going to sell Pot in the future for quite a bit of a buck.
Also, the basically you paid basically his valuation for 100% for the 50%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm not thrilled about that. I'm not thrilled about even giving up 2 players and 4.5 million for a percentage of Nuno Santos. Financially, I think we fucked up a lot. That's why I think I'm giving us a C+ to a B- because I think we brought in some good players. We brought in also some experience in Fidel and Adan, for example. It could have been better. I see Porto getting Felipe Anderson this just now on loan, a baller. I don't know why West Ham's loaning him out. seeing as they're in a relegation battle. Maybe he just wanted to get out of Dodge, but he's a baller, for example. I see the transfer window Benfica had, and I compare it to us. I compare it to other teams. I don't think we did horrible. I think under Varandas, this has been the best window. Of course, hindsight's 50-50, and in a few months I might be saying something else, but I think this might be the best window under Varandas, but it's still not perfect. How about you guys? What is your opinion on the transfer window, your letter grade? Whoever wants to take it. I don't know who wants to.
I don't have too much to say about it because honestly, to me, the João Mario signing here last minute seemed a little like they were reaching for a flashy signing to appease the Sócios. But I'd give it a C. I think financially it was a poor transfer market and not a market, but a poor transfer market performance, if you will. Selling players the way we sold them and the guys we got. And then the comment that I saw Marcos dropping here about how in 8 months, I think is what he said, really Uviano Varandas and Ruben Amorim himself really found only one solid player that fits Ruben Amorim's scheme, which is, Painha. There's still tons of players that I think we'd all agree we haven't quite found a spot for them on the pitch where they should play. I'm not mad at the performance in this market, but I'm not confident in it. We're still missing a striker. You know what I mean? We're still missing confidence up top. So therefore, because of that, we can't be any better than, like you said, a B- at best. But I'm leaning the C to a low C because I think Sporting needed to show that last year's performance, we were going to go heavy, fix the problems, bring in the players and the talent, whether it's not, whether it's in-house academy-wise or surgical and strategic signings that fit those holes, and I didn't see them really fitting those holes. I think we just got a bunch of players that kind of all do similar things, and that's my concern.
True. Steph, you want to take this as well?
Yeah, I'll take it, of course. So to me, it's a D because the quality of the players we've gotten, I like it. Let's get that out of the way. It was smart to buy players that we can financially afford, but that's why I'm giving a D, because it was really bad deals. So people don't forget, Nunes was only 50% of the pass, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so, yeah.
And we gave away two awesome players, Geraldes and Udala, which Dala was never given a proper chance to at Sporting. I don't know why. It beats the shit out of me. He goes to Rio Aves and he scores all kinds of goals, but at Sporting he was never good enough. And then Pot, a bad deal as well. I'm not talking about the quality of the player. The quality of the player, I recognize that. But the dealing of it, we paid how much? 5 million for Pot?
6.5.
6.5 for 50%, correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it means that when we sell him for 20, we only seeing 10.
Exactly.
And 10 will go to Famalicão. So that's a bad deal, unless they have in the buying clause that if we pay them if we can buy off the other 50% at 6.5, the same amount, then I'm still not okay with that. It's way too expensive. So it's a D for me because all the dealing we've gotten, especially those two players, Fidal, I think it was way too expensive as well. When Tunes, I think it was for free. Which other ones do we have? Antunes,
Fidal, Adan,
Porto.
Porto.
And then we paid what, 800,000 for
Signing bonus.
Signing bonus.
Yeah.
Porto, that was a good deal, I think. I think that was a good deal. João Mario was a good deal. I was hoping for 2-year loan, actually, not a 1-year loan. But that was a good deal. And But I give them a D because we still have to offload how many. How long is the list? We're talking about that offline. It's a long
was
list.
80, 71 or 80 players.
Yeah, but
in total of our team squad.
But
of course, some are in the B team. Yeah,
got it. No, I'm talking about offloading like players. They're not on the B team and under 23.
9. It's 9 players.
Okay, so it's not so. It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's horrible.
It's horrible.
It's almost a whole 11.
Unless you put them in the Russian league. Which other league is still open? I know the Russian market is still open until the 17th of this month.
I believe the German is open for tomorrow.
Okay.
But I don't see any of them going to the German league.
If we able to offload these 9 players, in the Russian league, German league, and Turkish league, and whatever league is open, hey, then I'm okay with that. But it's 9 salaries you have to pay for. So, and they took such a long time. I mean, you had all this fucking time to solve these problems, and you wait until the last minute, and that's it. A D for me, and okay, I'll give it a D plus. Let's put it that way, because the quality of the players we've gotten, I do like it. I'm not gonna say I don't like it because I do. It's just I like Nuno Santos, I like o Pote, gostei do João Mário que veio agora. O Daniel Bragança, they're giving him a shot. O Fedal, I think he has potential. I think Querem is better than Neto, but having Neto in as the 4th center back, it's actually a good feeling. I don't like what they do with Ritovsky, but it is what it is, and that's it. A D plus.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm with you too, Steph. How about you, Christian?
Yeah, I mean, the deals, like Steph said, are what the problem is. No one's doubting Pote's quality. No one. I mean, maybe some people are doubting Fedal or Dan Nuno Santos. I think that they'd be unwarranted. I think that they're all, decent enough. And the thing is, also, I mean, the admission that they were hunting Paulinho is an admission that they're looking for a striker, right? So they failed for the 2nd year in a row to sign any sort of striker, and we're attacking the league with Vieto, Thiago Tomas, Luis Felipe, Sporad on the ropes. Like it's like you did the same exact thing again. And it's even crazier, right? When you consider that on the books, this transfer window was a net 20 million net for Sporting. They sold Wendell for 20, Acuna for 10, and Mateus Pereira for 10, right? So that's 40 right there. That's the revenue. And then the spending is 6.5 plus 5 for Tabata. So that's 11 plus Fadal, 3. So you've got 14. And then, Nuno Santos, the rest, Adan signing bonus, all that, maybe 1, Porto 1. So you've got about 16, 17. At the most, it's 20, right? So you've sold 40, you've brought in 20. And you couldn't get a striker for 2 million. You couldn't find how can you not sign 2 strikers for 2 million each? Some guy that you've scouted in the German league, some guy who's tearing it up in the Bulgarian league, that to me, that's what scouting is. That is scouting. When you do that, when you identify players that aren't on a list from George Men's, right? And then you identify them and then you sign them. This guy was in Brazil or whatever. None of that exists anymore. So they were unable to secure a striker because it was plan A is the guy I used to coach. And thank God we didn't give Braga 20 million today because, oh my God, it's insane, right? There's no creativity. There's non-existent scouting. So it's Paulinho. Jesus, man, there's other players. Holy shit. That's what drives me crazy. So
I think you nailed it, man. I think you 100% nailed it.
Not to just forget, we're all asking for Slimani today. We bought Slimani for 200,000 from some random Argentinian.
I'm not even asking you to do because that's the level even before that. Even
that's scouting.
That's scouting underappreciated assets. I'm not even asking you to do that. I'm just asking you to sign finished products that someone else did in lower leagues, and you can't even do that. So Sportar is the only one that they've actually scouted and signed, and now they want him out after 7 months.
Like that. Maybe we sign him just to try to get Paulinho.
Like, oh my God! I mean, it's
would have surprised
so
me, but I can't pull it off.
If your transfer window is like capped at a B if you are just missing a key addition, right?
Yeah.
So I think for the if you don't take the deals considerations, just the quality that was injected into the squad, it's a B minus B. But if you consider the deals and everything else, it knocks it down a lighter grade. You're looking more C minus, D plus territory.
So Marco Diaz has an amazing transfer offer to Braga right now. 13 million plus Varandas, plus Zenha, plus Rogério Alves, plus Baltazar, plus Miguel Braga e pode vir o Paulinho. Negócio do século para o Sporting. 100%, mano. Actually, 3 milhões é demais, mas no, it's fantastic.
Think about how much how many
we could just agree to that and just say we don't owe Ruben Amorim's money.
That too. So I'll on the Twitter, so 7% actually give it an A, 37% give it a B, 36% give it a C, and then the following.
How many what did you say the percentage for A?
9.
7.
Out of how many votes?
Oh, 9 now. Sorry. Let me see.
Percent.
We had 7.
We had over 100 votes, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
It's nuts, man. I don't know if any of the people watching this live right now are one of those that gave A's, but like, how could someone legit sit there and go like, "Oh man, we knocked every one of those needs out of the ballpark here today, gentlemen"? Like, what the fuck?
They could have done with another center back signing as well.
Like, how could someone sit there and be like, "That's it, man. That's god damn it. We're competing now, boys."
Yeah.
We seemingly have a decent stockpile of good midfielders now, but we only play a system with 2 midfielders, so it's like the one place where we have depth, we don't even need it.
Finally, we have depth too in the midfield position.
And it's
even in the Jorge Jesus, we didn't have depth, and we're only playing 2. I 100% agree. That's fucked.
Listen, I have a lot of faith in Luis Felipe.
Coming off an ACL injury.
We'll see.
He's gonna
come back even sicker than usual, bro.
I don't know what's going on with Sportar. It looks like, I don't know, he's not applying himself at practice.
Yeah, it seems like he's in it.
He seems uninterested.
Yeah.
Seems like a Francis Geraldo's kind of vibe right now.
It seems like a 7 mil we just spent. He was the second top scorer in Liga Europa last year.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, man! Like,
and I don't think he's a bad striker. It's something that turned off Ruben Amorim.
Yeah, because he was. But even when he did put him in a couple games, he put him in at the wing. He didn't put him in at the target man. So it's like Amorim doesn't like him playing target man for some reason. Which
I think it might be the system. I don't think his system asks for a target man. Because even Thiago Tomás, like, he's a striker, but he's kind of playing on the right.
Yeah,
and he's just there to like tap in the goal.
But Sportar is not the guy you want like creating out wide, dude. Like,
Ruben Amorim, he kind of slipped, and he did admit that either he plays my way or he goes the highway, and that wasn't a flash interview.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a problem going on, and the problem I have with this is you spend X amount of money on these players. And I get it. As a coach, I mean, you can give in to everything the players want, but you need to make it work. I mean, that's why we paid how much? Nothing yet, but 12 million we're supposed to pay.
No, we paid like
nothing yet, bro. We're gonna pull off the robbery.
We paid like 2.4.
Yeah, we paid 2.4 of what was supposed to be a 10 million buyout that just turned into what? 15?
14. Yeah, I think 14.
Que luteiros do caralho. Não tem vergonha.
I like that one. Nothing, no.
That's the same price that we paid for Tabata as well, because the payment doesn't start till 2022. So we paid 0 for Tabata as well.
But I'm just doing that to fuck over the next president for sure.
We paid 0 million euros for 50%.
I'll tell him this though. At least that's a decent deal. If you're gonna pay for only 50% of a pass, at least pay it in 2 years. Fuck that shit.
Yeah,
we're in financial ruin and we need to fucking still pay this fucking €5 million euro debt. It's gonna be fucking class. Paulo Ponte asking what's Derlei and Lietzen doing these days. Anyone else miss Bas Dos from Richard Neves?
That man Levzine.
Another great deal, Bas Dos.
Yeah, another one going for free.
We gave him away.
Well, it was like 6 or 5 or something.
Embarrassing, these dealings, and that's the problem when you have an amateur president. And tell me, what's the pedigree of Hugo Vienna? What's his experience to be in charge of such a big club as Sporting?
He's really bad at his job.
We couldn't find anybody
BFF,
else.
bro. What do you mean?
I mean, but come on, you don't put an amateur dealing with so many,
bro, he
so much
them
money.
shades with Varandas. He's his best friend. He needed the money. He gave him a job.
He must be shaving his legs or something.
Damn, he's in a pretty important position. I mean, do you give your friend that job? Why can't you just make him like I don't know, some like bullshit, associate director or something? You got to make
that would be Otavio Machado.
You got to give him control of player.
Isn't he a physician of Varandas?
He's a bone doctor.
Okay, he could have hooked him up like he could have been a gynecologist or something.
We're equally unqualified for that too.
Well, this. At least the football feminino estava resolvido, pá.
Oh my goodness.
With that being said,
yeah.
Also, a special mention, I forgot to mention it, Fábio Coentrão also going back to Real.
There he is. That's my man.
Yeah.
Formerly. Steph, I might be putting you on the spot, but I just wanted to quickly mention our beach soccer team champions of Portugal today. So congratulations to them. Off the top of your head, maybe some modalidades, like you're the top modalidades guy for us.
I know the question was coming, so I'm ready for that.
Oh, perfect. Steph, take it away, buddy.
So handball, Sporting won against Jumaya, 34-27 away. So pretty good results. Then we already spoke about our wonderful soccer team, the A squad. We lost at home 4-1 against Lask in the Liga Europa. Then the B team is doing quite well in the Liga Portuguesa. We won 2-0 against Prayense, so that's good. We've shown some consistency. And to better understand that, most of the players came from the under-23 team, so they kind of know each other quite well. And it's not the second division; it's the third division of Portugal. So, but still, a win is a win, and we among the first, on top of the table. Then Feminino Liga BPI, we won 5-1 away no Torreirense. So we are in first place with 6 points together with Sport Lisboa Benfica and Braga. I believe they won as well. The B team for the ladies in the second division, they won 9-1 against AD Pastéis. They have amazing pastéis, from what I understand. Football Praia masculino, we were champions of Portugal, just like Denny said. The first game was the toughest one. We won 4-2 against Braga. Braga has been pretty much destroying our football Praia for, I think, 4 years in a row. Last time we won a championship was 4 years ago. So when we went against Braga, I couldn't believe it. I had to triple check it. And then I checked it on Facebook, checked it on Twitter. Then I went on the record and the Bola, and I'm like, okay, I think we really won that game. So then the second game was against Chaves. We won 5-3. Tough game. I didn't know Chaves had such a good team. And then the final game today was against Casa Benfica Lourdes. We won 6-3, and they met as champions of Portugal finally 4 years later. Well deserved. Futsal Seniors Liga Placar. We won 3-2, a tough game against Leões Salvo. The team had we sold some key players and the readjusting. A lot of youth in the futsal, but I have all the confidence in Nuno Dias, and I'm pretty sure that the team in no time will regain the rhythm and will be able to compete against top teams such as Braga, Benfica, and Leões de Passo Salvo. They are a pretty good team. Okay, Patins, another tough win after the first round. The second round was against Oliveirense, a team that's always fighting for the Portuguese title. We won 2-1, so that was a good game, very entertaining game. I did watch the game. I was home. And tough game. Oliveirense again has a really good team. I can see Porto and Benfica struggling against them. So good win for Sporting. The ladies, they smacked Tuchel away 13-0. Good game by the ladies. Tennis de Mesa, another trophy. We won the Super Cup, a Supertaça de Portugal. 3-1 against GD Toledo. Another great win against from our Tennis de Mesa. Like always, they've gotten used. We've gotten used to them winning all kinds of titles, and just another title again. So let me see. I'm scrolling down really fast. Seniors, we won 3-0 against Ginástica. We won 3-2 against Sporting Espinho. And our ladies for the Portuguese League, both of those games were in the Portuguese League for the men and females again, Portuguese League. They won 3-1 against City Apps, and we won 3-0 against Os Belenenses. So tomorrow we have a couple tough games. There's modalidades. Our volleyball plays against Benfica for the Super Cup. And we have a basketball Final Four. You guys should, Taça Portugal, which will be Sporting, Porto, Benfica, Guimarães. And I think the tournament starts on the 7th of
I can't remember.
The 7th of this month. Sporting contra o Vitória de Guimarães está marcado para as 18 horas, at 6 p.m. esta quarta-feira. 7 no pavilhão multiuso de Odivelas. So we'll play, which is our time, 1300, and I think it'll be on Sporting TV. So that's the first game, and hopefully we'll win. And that's all I have for modalidades. We're doing great in modalidades, so let's keep it up.
Só uma pergunta sobre as futebol feminino, as pastéis, comias? Okay, let's digress. So coming up next game after this international break, of course, Portugal plays Spain tomorrow, and we play Sweden, I believe, on the weekend. Right? Sweden
at home, right?
Yeah, both games with Alvalade. Yeah,
with fans.
With
fans.
With fans, 5%.
Yeah, I think it's like 2,500 or something.
The fuck you do with 5%? It's better than nothing.
Better than nothing. Yeah.
It's like an experiment. So
yeah. Let's hope we hear some Varandas out.
Well, that sounds about right for Sporting, though. Like, once our fans start coming back to the stadium, we ain't putting more than 5% up in that ish anyway.
Last season, it seemed like it was only at 5% capacity. But anyways, when we do come back on the Saturday, I believe it is, we're going to be playing Porto for a Clásico. Let me just quickly go through the incomings of Porto. Of course, they had Ivan Nielsen, Teremi, I should say, from Rio Ave, and Tony Martinez coming in. That's 3 strikers. Us not even getting one. They got 3 strikers. They also got Zanuzzi from Santa Clara, the left back. They got Carassa, the right back / center defensive midfielder from Boa Vista. Claudio Ramos, Tondela's goalkeeper, in from a free. They got Nanu from Marítimo, who actually looks very promising. They actually scored against them on the weekend on their shocking 3-2 loss. And then today they got Mengalar Sarr from loan from Chelsea, an up-and-coming center back who's killing it at Nice. just before moving to Chelsea. Felipe Anderson from West Ham, like I mentioned earlier, and Marco Grucci, I don't know how it's pronounced. And then, of course, their outgoings, they have a few significant ones. Fabio Silva to Wolves is whatever. Mainly, what I want to focus on is Alex Telles leaving them, Zé Luís and Tiquinho Soares leaving them, who was huge for them. Zé Luís, at least, was big for them last year. Tiquinho Soares always scores against Sporting, so it's always good to see him leave. Danilo Pereira going to PSG on loan.
I think Suarez went to Freddie Montero's old team in China.
Yeah, in China, Teiji Teda or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they also had a Boubacar leave on a free to Besiktas. And in terms of significant players, that's basically it. They had a few other outgoings, but they're not really that significant. Boys, how are we viewing this Porto Clásico? Of course, we're playing at home. Not that it matters much anymore, because no fans, but still playing a Clásico at home. Porto coming off a very bad 3-2 loss against Marítimo, which might affect their confidence, but now they at least have 2 weeks to rest on that. Sporting coming in at decent form, at least in the league. How are we looking at this? Can we maybe sneak a result? What do you guys think?
By the way, we play on the 18th on Sunday. It's a Sunday.
Sorry.
At 11 a.m. our time.
Do we get fans for that game?
I don't think
or
we do.
only for the international.
Nothing's been mentioned yet,
No,
at least.
Yeah, potentially. Well, I'll go first. I think we have a good. This is the best shot we're gonna have to win against Porto.
Yeah.
Because they sold the Tels. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Danilo.
who else? Danilo of Paris Saint-Germain.
Boubacar, like I was mentioning, Tiquinho Soares, Zé Luís.
So this is the weakest Porto I've seen for a little while. When I
They
say
did
weak,
get good reinforcements though, but
They
they
did.
probably won't have time to gel. It'll be their first
exactly,
game.
and that's what I was just about to say. I don't think they'll have enough time to get to know each other, and they're like a rhythm. Well, that's what I'm hoping. That's wishful thinking, I guess. So I think we'll be more prepared than them. But now they do have 2 weeks because of the national team. So the Sérgio Conceição, unless they've been called by their national team, and then they won't have any time to prepare for the game. But we play at home. But like Nando said, it doesn't matter. There's no fans. But I think this is the best shot I see of winning against Porto, because I don't think they'll be prepared. So I'm going to give it a 55 to 45 to Sporting %.
Mm-hmm. I'm not mad at that. What do you guys have to say to that, Christian? What do you think?
No, I think that's a good assessment.
I agree.
They won't be fully prepared. They're probably going to have maybe 3-4 new players in the 11. They won't. Maybe, I mean, some of them are leaving on international. I don't know how many of them. Certainly a few. So hopefully it'll be their first game together. It's at Alvalade. Seems set up for 1-1 tie.
Exactly. How about you, Nando?
I'll take it.
I agree.
I'll take a 1-1 tie too.
Yeah, I'll take a tie all day, man. I think it's going to be our best chance at beating Porto this year, assuming the league plays out like we expect it to play out and what we fear it'll play out. One takeaway, though, leading into this game, and I'm curious to see. So at the end of the last game, Ruben Amorim had said that he can't ask for more from his players, right? And then at the end of the loss that Porto just had, Sérgio Conceição finally said something that I was dying to hear Coach say when they asked him if their players had to levantar a cabeça, and he's like, no, they should be ashamed. They should keep their heads down. In other words, he also said that players that are here and are not doing all they can for the club, they are jogadores a mais, and they have to go. So quickly, a huge obvious difference in mentality between one club and the other. My fear is that Sérgio Conceição uses that fire that we know he's known for, and Porto just goes into Alvalade and just kind of lights it up.
They have more talent than Sporting does. But they did lose. We haven't lost yet. And because it's early, anything can happen. But with that being said, I think it's got all the makings for a tie, or a Porto win. Unfortunately, I just gotta say it. But I'll be okay with a tie of any kind, to be honest.
Yeah, and well said. It shows the difference between their mentality and ours. I mentioned this on the last podcast. I believe it was the last podcast, where I think the biggest failing of Sporting in the last 10, 15, 20, 30 years has been our mentality. It's been this like weak-minded, not winning.
50% of these games are mental, Yeah. 50% of successes are whether you believe it. The fact that, and I know it's not so much about this game, but the fact that we are constantly emitting that message that failure is okay if it's not as bad as what we expected it to be. And I think that has happened at Sporting now for well over 20 years, in which, hey, if we don't win the league, but we get very close. If we don't win the league, but Benfica didn't win it. If we don't win the league, but we weren't embarrassed and humiliated with losses, so forth and so on. If we can levantar a cabeza one more time, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how our players, and maybe that's our problem over the years, our players have had to have horrible neck cramps, just from so many times that we've had to lift our goddamn heads up.
For this.
It's just ridiculous, bro. My dad single-handedly he'll throw something at the TV every time post-game he hears, "É preciso levantar a cabeça." We're going to start levantaring right now. We'll finish levantaring by next week, and hopefully we'll keep it going. Dude, it's embarrassing. It's all mental. And I was hoping, and I think you mentioned, like you said in the last podcast, but very infeliz, very unfortunate comments from Ruben Amorim. But I was hoping that a coach young like him would have more fire in his belly and would emit some form of like disappointment and be more vocal about it. Because those press conferences are very, very key, transitioning from game to game. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think Sergio Conceição, whether you like him or don't like him, and however we feel about Porto's team, but we know they're talented. And somebody commented below that Sergio Conceição is stubborn and he's going to play who he trusts. One thing that I think is very, very obvious is those players are going to fight for Sergio. You know what I mean? I don't know, and I don't feel like Sporting players at this point yet are going to fight and go to war for Ruben Amorim. I don't feel that way yet, at least.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm with you. I was going to say, Conceição to me is what I wanted, or I wished Silas was, or I thought at least Silas was going to be for Sporting.
Yes, Silas just ended up being like the quietest yes man ever.
Yeah, which was disappointing. I thought Silas would be more, because at Belenenses he wasn't a yes man, but he came to Sporting, and I guess
he came over there.
The higher ups, they made him what he is. A quick special mention to my boy Patrick, best friend.
Michael says
he's a Portista. It's Patrick _2727 on Twitter. Follow him if you want to sound Portista to listen to. But I would always tell him every time he would mention like I want Sergio Conceição out. I would always mention, bro, he goes out, let him come to Sporting, bro, because he's the type of manager we need. That sort of like kill mentality is what Sporting needs. Unfortunately, I'm going to be the pessimist with you, Dando. As I would love a draw. And I also agree with Steph. I do think it's 55-45 on our side. But I don't see us winning this game. I don't see Sporting rising up to the occasion on big games. I won't believe it until I see it. I had a feeling
bro, who's gonna score on Pep? Like what
Thiago Tomás, caralho. He's been on fire.
Is Thiago Tomás gonna twist him
with
inside
a nice little
bro, Pep is gonna scare the kid. Pep is gonna scare the kid. I think, at least.
Every game the problem is gonna be who's gonna score. That's gonna be the problem every time.
Mike Consolio on the chat saying Sapinto was supposed to be that guy. Unfortunately,
Sapinto was that guy, though. Sapinto
he's not sharp tactically, I don't think. He's sharp.
Sapinto's got market. English Championship. Barnsley's job just opened up. Sapinto.
I think Sapinto was too new for the time being. And let's not forget, Sapinto did take that team to the semifinals of Europa. We lost to Atletico Bilbao.
No, I can't remember.
It was Madrid. It was Madrid. We lost another Bilbao elimination round 2 one of those years.
No, I think you're right. Actually, I think it was Bilbao, to be honest.
I think it was
He was absolutely
in the final.
That passionate voice, and those things don't go well with Sporting's elite and Sporting's snobby, historic preference of players and coaches.
Yeah,
they don't like that. They got to look good and fit the status quo that Sporting is constantly looking to portray.
Yeah. Listen. Anyway, I'm gonna say it's a 2-1 win to Porto, and I'll finish it there. But hopefully I'm wrong, because I would love nothing more than to rub it into my friends' faces.
You said 2-1 to Porto.
I think so.
Oh, meu Deus. First of all, it's 1-2 because we play
1-2. You're right. My bad.
And
1-2.
second, it's not going to be 2-1 to Porto. It's going to be 3-1 to Sporting.
Vamos, caralho. This is the motivation I fucking needed. Tá certo. Já tá feito. I hope you're right, Steph. I hope you're right. I'm negative. I'll see it when I believe it, because this Sporting team, like I was mentioning, I don't see it. Last season, I thought we can get a result against Porto. After Porto already had won the league, nada. We fell short. We looked scared. Again, the same thing against Benfica. I thought maybe, okay, last game of the season, the boys can show out. Nada. Lose fourth place.
Literally,
place
what I
to Braga. It's the only reason why I'm saying Porto's going to win. It's because of this mentality I think the club has.
But, hey,
yes,
it's a difference.
You know those Samoans that do the little dance like in rugby or some shit?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? Like that crazy shit.
Yeah,
that, like,
all blacks.
If you don't know what's coming, it'll literally scare you shitless. Like, I feel like that's Porto walking into Alvalade, and like Sporting's players are just like, nah, bruh. Like, I didn't sign up for that shit. Like Pep, one opportunity, like goes right for the kneecap, and they're like, no, not today.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think Tiago Tomás is going to be scared of Pep if Tiago Tomás starts,
Yeah.
But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully, and we'll see. We'll see. Anyways, let me get these last comments up on the screen really quickly. Our boy Richard Neves saying Max Silva did well here too, but Bruno ultimately wanted Jesus to make a point. That's fair enough. I think that's a good point. And then Jordan B saying Sporting 3-1 versus Porto. Let's go. Shout out to Jordan. He's been all over our chat since the start. Shout out to Jordan.
3-1. Great minds, they think alike.
I agree. I hope you guys are right, bro. So, quick special mention and shout out to our chat. Lauren Jenks in the chat as always. Jordan B. I believe that's Jordan Bentoncourt. Michael Cosolho coming in right now. Norberto Chaves. Richard Neves. Your boy Daniel Baldwin. Steph also in the chat. Marco Diaz.
The wiki.
Marco Diaz in the chat. Our Aussie Tuga Jose Costa Jorge in the chat. We actually had quite an active chat today. Our favorite Braga fan. We don't like a lot of you though, but our favorite Braga fan, David Pereira. I love Braga fans.
But we like him because he's a real Braga fan. He's not Braga and Benfica.
True. We do love David. David.
Most Braga fans are Benfica for Saz, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, before you offend the guy, like I'm shouting him out. Just kidding. We also had Mysterious Donut 7 in the chat. Francisco Valente in the chat. Paul Pont in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us today, guys. Johnny Singero. Always got to mention New York's Finest was in the chat as well. And I believe that's it. If I'm missing anybody, I do apologize. Thank you all for joining us today. Follow us on Twitter at Sporting160_EN. Follow us on Instagram, Sporting160En. Potential something coming that way. I always mention it, but I have an idea. Maybe I'll push through on it next Sporting game. Follow us on YouTube, of course, Sporting160En. SoundCloud as well, Sporting160En. Not Snapchat.
Snapchat. That would be a new level.
Snapchat. You guys are not getting my nudes. Sorry. Maybe OnlyFans.
And Facebook.
But not Facebook as well, Sporting160En. spread shirt. You guys
Can you
still want
imagine
the
a
merch?
Sporting 160 OnlyFans?
That would be ugly. Look at us.
Hey, we got on YouTube. We got a total of 312 followers.
Yeah.
They're
which is
piling
pretty
up.
good.
Yeah.
And last podcast was viewed by 356 people. So
Yeah, and on last podcast as well. Obviously, it was some other circumstances that showed up, but I want to just special thank you to everybody who showed up and was supporting us throughout Twitter, throughout YouTube, everything like that. We do deeply appreciate you guys and your support. We did want to bring you guys, a great interview and a different perspective, I believe, on Sporting that I can speak for four of us, at least this side of the world isn't that tuned into. But anyways, that's enough of that. So thank you anyways for the support.
But a special thank you to Sporting160, to João Castro, Pedro Varela, and Mariana Freire. They really fought for us. They spoke about us a great deal on their last podcast. And also João took his time to on his little podcast he does every morning, Los Patrons. He dedicated one show to us. I don't know if you guys did listen to it, but I did, and I think that was pretty awesome because they do understand that we got caught in the mix of since we are Sporting160En, we are related to Sporting160 from Portugal. So lately they haven't been able to get any athletes because Sporting administration doesn't like them. So by default they don't like us.
Yeah,
and it's just the way it is. That's the big picture.
And funny enough, when we first got the phone call, Chris can back me up on this. The guy answered it, or when he answered it, he was speaking in Portuguese, asking if this was Sporting160. When Sam said he only speaks English, he was confused. He was like, "Wait, isn't this Sporting160? Like, what's going on here?" But anyways, that's that. The connection is strong, is what I'm saying here between Sporting160 and 160.
I wish I was involved in that phone call because I would have explained it to him. Like we are affiliated to Sporting160, but it's in English. But anyway, we've said a lot of shit about Verandas. So who the fuck am I kidding?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But also a shout out to Mike Casoilo. His podcast with Three Tugas is a great podcast. You guys should follow it. I always like to recognize other people.
For sure.
And he's a great Sportingista. Mike Casoilo is a great commentator. Three Tugas. You guys listen to them. Those guys are pretty good.
I love Three Tugas podcast.
Yeah, me too. I still listen to them.
Yeah. Right now, my podcasts have been Football No Filter, and Three Tugas. I haven't seen them post anything as of late, but that was my shit when they first came out. When I first fell to Three Tugas, that was my shit. I love that podcast.
Well, Football No Filter. I gotta tell you, it's a good thing that we're doing it from home because sometimes I want to punch Bruno in the face and Jordan. So it's good that we do it from home because sometimes I'm very frustrated with them.
Last week I was on and I listen. Not so much Bruno, but there was a few comments from Jorge. Listen, Jorge said something about there was a question before we end this. There was a question: is the Lisbon Derby still a big derby or what? And I was like, of course, historically, blah blah blah. It goes to Jorge, and Jorge is like, of course, Benfica Belenenses is always a big game. I wanted to punch my fucking computer screen.
Yeah,
for saying that shit.
Yeah,
I love the guy. The guy's he's a good Benfiquista. He's on my good side.
Yeah,
one of the better ones.
He's a good guy. No, I like George too. I'm not going to say I don't like him because I do like him. But he'll go set picar.
Of course. I love him though. I love him for that.
And then sometimes, I know how to fight back to him. He doesn't like it when I push his buttons. But he knows how to push my buttons too. And that's when I tell, oh Lord, it's such a good thing I'm in my basement and I'm next to him.
But that's what makes the podcast good stuff, to be honest with you. It's these picadelas. That's what makes them good. But anyways, we've rambled on far too long. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. Be sure to follow us where you follow us. And, yeah, viva